I want everybody to navigate their eyes to the left side of the screen and take a look here, okay? Take a quick look. If you watch very closely, there is gameplay footage being shown behind our characters talking. And you're probably wondering, why does this matter? Why am I mentioning this? What's important about it? Honestly, in the grand scheme of things, it's not important. But it adds so much more to this story. It goes the extra mile to showcase a few things. It shows that the animators behind this care enough to actually have good CGI that looks acceptable for a game, especially in an anime. But secondly, they could have cheaped out. They could have done like a billboard or something like you have in the background here and put it there. But they decided to, opt in and put animated footage there to showcase that this is a vibrant and living world. That this world is moving. There is people living in this world. There's games on display. People can find things they want. And this feels very immersive. And this goes a long way. It does. And I think that this just goes to show the care and attention to detail that Shangri-La, oh my goodness, I can't speak today. Shangri-La Frontier, forgive me, butchered it, how far this will go, so to speak. And, I really appreciate that. Like, I really appreciate details like this that actually just make the world feel lived in. And I love that feeling. And I've been saying this, but it's very clear that the author of this loves gaming. It's very important to this because there's so many elements that, this episode does that showcases this. Like, this element right here, where you have, our main character, he goes into town after doing this unique quest, he has this NPC that, joins his party, and it's very clear that, he's the only one that's ever felt this quest. And as soon as he walks into town that's obviously populated by a lot of players, they're going to notice him, they're going to notice his markings on his body, they're going to notice this NPC that looks like a Vopal bunny, and they're going to ask questions like, where'd you get this? Why is this NPC talking? Why is it, is it like, did you tame it, etc. A lot of people are going to be asking questions. That's just what's going to happen. Like, I know anyone that probably has played an RPG game, especially an MMO, probably has seen someone with really cool equipment or a weapon and probably wondering to themselves, where did they get that? Was it a microtransaction, or was it, something they actually obtained? Did they farm a boss or something? So when you see something like this brings a lot of people's attention to the screen. They're like, why? Like, how'd you get this? And so the questions that were made, is very organic. It is definitely what players would do within the environment if they saw something like this. And it's nice to see the environment interacting with the main character, and it's not the main character interacting with the environment. It goes both ways. And it's just very enjoyable to see, once again, as another example, the world feels lived in, but also very organic too, because this file save, they took a screenshot of him, and this makes perfect sense. Like, for instance, we live in a world where you can instantly take screenshots while you're playing a game, stream, etc. And so, bound to be footage of this man walking around with this Vopal bunny. And if he's not going to answer, people are going to take their answers or questions, so to speak, to online forums. They're going to go to Reddit, they're going to go to Twitter, YouTube, etc. to try to figure out what's going on here. And if nobody knows, they're going to be like, that's very strange. And so they're going to get this man's username, and they're going to start spam messaging him, finding out where he's at to kind of ask him questions. It might lead him to getting like PK'd by players. So many different things. And so it's very interesting just to see this interaction that starts off very small can potentially blow up into something massive if just, it gets out of control and gains traction, so to speak. So I really like this. This is a really good segment, once again, showcasing that the writer of the story really knows how gaming is. Like, actually knows how people act in games, and didn't just use the world, like, as a game, as a template. Because, like, there's many authors that write light novels, write manga, etc., that will just use the template of, it's in a VR game, and that's what they do, and they keep to the cliches. And yeah, this series does have cliches, it is very simple, but it's clear that the extra detail sprinkled in with it shows that it isn't just a template being used, that the writer really does respect gaming, and knows what gaming is, the flaws, the positives, etc. It's nice. It really shows the difference, a level of quality in comparison to just a person using a template that doesn't have really any passion for gaming to begin with. Now, besides this, we need to talk about the collar that our MC got within this episode, which is legitimately fascinating. So he gets this Vopal Soul collar, and he gets a negative and a positive from wearing this. He gets a negative to where his, EXP is halved. He receives half EXP, but gains 2.5 times stat points, rounded down when leveling. And at first glance, when you read this and you factor all of this in, This sounds like a really bad trade-off. Another restriction added onto him. This man literally has wounds on his body, like a curse mark, to where he can't wear armor, so he's already messed up. But now that he has this, it's like, wow, now I'm getting half EXP, so this is even worse. It's going to take a lot longer for him to eventually overcome that unique monster just to be able to level up to fight it, because half EXP. But when you look at the gains 2.5 times stat requirement, or points, that's huge. It's basically borderline broken and meta. Like, if this was an item easily obtained, this would be the meta item. Like, people would go out of their way at level 1 and obtain this item because of how meta it can be. And let's explain this in very simple terms, okay? Let's say max level within this world is level 99, okay? Keep it simple. And you get 1 stat point per level. So at the end, if you reach level 99, you will have 99 stat points. And let's say to max out a stat, let's say like health, would take 99 points. Obviously, you're not going to do that. You're going to allocate your points in different stats. But the point is let's say you put all 99 points in health, okay? You can only max out 1 stat if you used all stats for just 1 stat. However, if he gains 2.5 times stat points per level, so instead of getting like 1 point, he might get 2 to 3 points per level. Instead of having 99 points at max level, he would have 200 plus. That's huge. That is absolutely huge. So this item benefits those that get it early. Like, for instance, if you get this item at level 1, it is the most benefit you can get out of it. If you get this at, let's say, level 98, and then 99 is the max level, this is not really going to be a good item. It's not. So this is a very meta item if you hold on to this till max level and never take it off. It would be completely broken and destroy the balancing of the game because you would have way more stat points over the average player. Even the max level player, like for instance, let's say 99, it has 99 stat points allocated. They would not be able to touch this man because he would have way more points in him, and we know stat points matter. Like, if you put 10 more points into strength than another person, that really does add up in terms of DPS, etc. So this is absolutely ridiculously broken. That absolutely, it makes the character have to grind for it and work hard for it, but it feels beneficial. It feels organic, because obviously our MC needs to be strong. He needs to be strong. He's our main character, but this feels grounded in reality, and it's a nice positive and negative, and items like this probably would exist within a game. I could definitely see something like this exist, but eventually gets nerfed or whatever, because it's just so unbalanced. But the point is that I really like this edition. It's really cool, and once again, it's another layer to how this offer really does know what gaming is. Now, another good example of this, since I've been speaking of environment and all that, is the swamp. And I think that this swamp is such an excellent showcasing of just like the love for RPGs. The swamp level. Anyone that has played, let's say, a Dark Souls game, or played Monster Hunter, like, you know, Monster Hunter World with, I think its name was Juratortus, or however your Totus. Basically, it was a fish. It was a mudfish. Monster. It was like one of the first monsters you fought. This creature looks exactly like it. Like, I'm willing to bet you this design was inspired by Monster Hunter World. I'm willing to put money on it, because it looks pretty much identical in the areas, muddy and swampy and all that. It's what reminds me of it. But, the point is that anyone that plays RPGs and plays a lot of games has probably encountered a swamp level, a mud level, etc. And usually they are held as one of the worst levels. Like, good example, Blight Town. I think everybody knows what Blight Town is from Dark Souls, or Farron Keep Swamp in Dark Souls 3, or hell, let's Monster Hunter again, talking about that swamp, the mud swamp with the fish. Swamps are the bane of a lot of gamers' existence. Like, when you walk through swamps, you move slow. Hell, actually, Baldur's Gate 3 even has a swamp, and it does the exact same thing in the first act. So when you factor all of these things in, it's like, it's very clear the author that made this moment loves swamps or hates swamps, because this is a bane of anyone's existence, because it's a gimmick fight. It's a straight gimmick. Like, our main character, his stats, his allocation of stats right now, he is someone that allocated all into speed, movement, and basically is a glass cannon. And if you're someone that's a speedster and needs to move a lot, this is basically one of the hardest obstacles for you to fight. But if you're a tank, you could just demolish this boss like nothing. Usually they're very easy, it takes a long time because of movement speed. So I like this, that our character is in trouble because, he is a glass cannon. What's going to happen to him, etc. But I like how gimmick fights are even being added into this, because this is what games normally have. Even the best of games have stuff like this. Dark Souls, very good example, has stuff like this. And it's just a common tactic that, mini game, creators do, to where they just make mud slow you down, you can't move, and it's an element to make the fight a lot harder. So yeah, I don't know, I really just love this series. Shangri-La is, such a good anime. It is so good. It even has like this little element of bugs and stuff. Like this is Walmart Luffy versus Katakuri, by the way. But it even has like, elements of a game is so buggy and people play the game because it's so buggy and broken. It reminds me of speedrunners. Like people that speedrun games because they're just so broken that they're able to do these crazy things to be able to do like 80% runs. Like that's what this feels like as well. So I don't know. There's a lot of layers to this show. A lot of love. It is a passion and I guess just a love note, so to speak, to gaming in general. So yeah, I don't know. I like this. It's really good. I have been very impressed by Shangri-La Frontier since, like, I watched the first episode, and it continues to get better every single week. But okay, I'll leave it at that. Thank you so much for watching. May all of you have a fantastic day or night wherever you live. Be safe, stay healthy. Chibi out.